Imagine this. You stop texting first. You stop explaining yourself. You stop reacting. You simply let go. At first they're confused, then annoyed, and soon they panic. This isn't a trick. It's not manipulation. It's a psychological shift. One Machiavelli understood over 500 years ago. In a world addicted to control and validation, detachment is power. And today, we're going to explore why not caring can be one of the most powerful moves you ever make. But before you think Machiavelli was just about cold power, let's understand the man behind the myth and why his philosophy is more about clarity and self-respect than cruelty. Niccolò Machiavelli lived in 15th century Florence, a time of betrayal, shifting alliances and brutal politics. He wasn't born rich, he wasn't born powerful, but he was observant. He saw the game for what it was, and unlike others, he wasn't afraid to write it down. His most famous book, The Prince, has been misunderstood for centuries. People think it's a manual for manipulation, but it's actually a mirror held up to human behavior. He didn't tell us what should be. He showed us what is. He saw that when you give your heart away recklessly to power, to people, to popularity, you end up controlled. But when you step back, detach, and observe, you gain leverage. You gain peace. Let's get honest. Most of us care too much about what people think, about being liked, about being understood. We chase validation like it's oxygen. But here's the Machiavellian truth. The more you care, the more you expose yourself. The more you seek, the more power you give away. Machiavelli wrote, "A wise man ought always to follow the paths beaten by great men and imitate those who have been supreme." And what did the greatest minds do? They chose what to care about deliberately. They didn't get dragged by emotion. They didn't beg for loyalty. They let their silence speak. When you stop reacting, people notice. When you stop explaining, people wonder. When you stop giving energy to nonsense, they feel your absence, and it unsettles them, because deep down they know you've stopped playing the game. Machiavelli believed power didn't come from loud declarations, but from quiet certainty. A prince, he said, must appear virtuous, even if he isn't. Why? Because perception is power. But here's the deeper message. You don't need to be fake. You just need to understand the game and play it wisely. Sometimes saying less is stronger than any speech. Sometimes silence breaks egos better than shouting ever could. When you stop caring about being seen, you become more visible. When you stop chasing people, they turn around to see where you went. Your energy is your currency, and people can feel when you've taken it back. Let's be clear. We're not talking about apathy. We're talking about mindful detachment. You still care, just not about what doesn't matter. You still love, just not at the cost of your soul. You still show up, just not to prove yourself. Machiavelli wasn't telling you to become heartless. He was telling you to see clearly, to know where to give your time, your trust, your emotions. When you stop needing people to act a certain way, you free them and yourself. When you release your grip, you let life breathe. And that calmness, that self-respect, it shakes people. It unsettles those who expect to control you with guilt, fear, or obligation. Something strange happens when you stop caring about the wrong things. Your standards rise, your peace returns, and the chaos around you starts to look small. Machiavelli said, "It is much safer to be feared than loved if one must choose." But maybe the deeper point is this: when you stop needing love, the right people respect you more. When you stop fearing rejection, you become untouchable. When you stop explaining yourself, the world starts listening. Let go, not to punish others, but to protect yourself. Let go, not to play games, but to play life on your terms. So, how do you use this in real life? You slow down before you react. You ask, is this worth my energy? You choose peace over proving a point. You detach from outcomes and focus on your effort. Machiavelli wasn't a villain. He was a realist. He knew that clarity beats emotion, that boundaries build strength, that letting go changes everything. So ask yourself, what's one thing or one person you need to stop chasing today? Because when you stop caring the way they expect, they start panicking. And in that silence, you'll find your real power.